It was the 16th of December 1966. My band, the Bay City Union, were leaving Brisbane and headed for Sydney and Melbourne, where we hoped we could find more opportunities than Brisbane offered. In those days, Brisbane had a very small music scene, dominated by only two major nightclubs, the Bowl and the Scene. The band wanted more. It was the Bay City Union's turn to head south and try its luck in Sydney and Melbourne. I was still smarting over the Purple Hearts. Brisbane's hottest band at the time had offered me a position in the band, but I was only 17, and my mother intervened. They had gone on to achieve great success down south. This time, there was no debate. I was leaving. I had plucked up the courage to tell Mum and Dad. The timing couldn't have been worse for them. We left Brisbane 9 days before Christmas. Mum was bitterly disappointed. Her main concern, however, I was only 18. As the car pulled away, I looked back to see Dad move slowly over to Mum and put his arm around her shoulder in comfort. She was crying her eyes out. I promised myself that for their sake, no matter how hard it got in Sydney and Melbourne, I would never come home and say that I had failed. I was determined not to look back on this day with regret. I almost broke down watching my mother sob. Was I making the right decision here? I was leaving my home, my job, my girlfriend, going to a new life of uncertainty. All I knew was that I wanted to be in Australia's top band. I loved playing music and wanted desperately to be accepted by everybody who heard us play. The band consisted of Tony Buttell on drums, Trevor Bagnall on bass, Jim Brailsford on guitar, Matt Taylor on lead vocals, and myself on guitar. The focal point of the band was Matt Taylor, a talented singer and harp player. We were a rhythm and blues band largely because of Matt and his driving passion for Chicago blues. A band of brothers we were, embarking on a journey we knew not where. There were long gaps of silence on the drive, all of us, I am sure, pondering on what the future was to hold for us. There was no real plan, no forward bookings, nowhere to stay, literally going into the unknown. We planned to stay in Sydney for a couple of weeks and then move on to Melbourne, the acknowledged hub of the Australian pop scene at the time. We drove down in two cars, one hauling a trailer with the amplifiers and guitars, and it really was a long journey. My mind constantly questioning my decision to leave Brisbane. There were moments of fear, of the unknown, and what was in front of me. At 1 o'clock the next morning, we reached the outskirts of Sydney. We didn't want to waste any money on a motel, so we drove through the city down to the waterfront at Woolloomooloo. There are 5 of us and only 4 seats in the cars, so 2 had to share 1 seat. We drew straws. Matt Taylor and I were the unlucky ones. I was raised in Brisbane, the elder of 2 sons from working-class parents living in the middle-class suburb of Stafford. My mother, Frida, was born and raised in Chinchilla, in outback Queensland. She didn't see the ocean till she was 21. She knew little else of life except how to provide as best she could for her family. She sacrificed everything for my brother Paul and me. My father Dawson was a truck driver, an independent owner-driver who picked up carrying jobs whenever and wherever he could. Except for weekends, I never saw my dad in the mornings. He was at the fruit and vegetable markets, buying for his handful of clients who owned fruit shops around the city of Brisbane. It was always late when he returned at night. After the inevitable few beers at the Kedron pub, he would stagger home exhausted and flop in front of the flickering black and white television. More often than not, he'd fall asleep there. Sitting in its pride of place on the TV set was a photograph of 29-year-old Glenn Wheatley, with 6 mates smiling from ear to ear as they boarded the Queen Mary, all in army uniform, kit bags on their shoulders. They were on their way to the Middle East and their part in World War II. My father was the only one of those 7 young men to come home.